Pleasure to meet y'all at last, and welcome back to films I should have talked about years ago, because, well, now let's get on into something that's actually an exclusive to something. More specifically, to Disney+. Because I've talked about it before, I've talked about the fact that I used to have an account on it, and I did watch lots of things on there that I was never able to see before. Iron Will, Cool Runnings, both of the current seasons of The Mandalorian, plus one other exclusive that came around when the platform first launched in November 2019. There was a film on there. It's basically another rerun of the same old sled dog setting called Togo. But unlike many others, wow, Iron Will, Snow Buddies, Balto even, there's just tons of different sled dog based movies out there that it's getting a little bit too much in most ways. I have seen a lot of those kind of movies out there, but of course, if there's one that I feel is very unique in comparison to many others, then Togo might just be the one. It came out only a few months before the most recent sled dog based film that I know of so far, The Call of the Wild, which of course was an adaptation based on the famous book of the same name, starring Harrison Ford. But in Togo, you have a different sort of approach. It is an all original film, which does center on an entirely different story. It's not necessarily about a dog that's different from most other sled dog varieties that would normally come by, including German Shepherds, Huskies, and sometimes other breeds as well. But in the case of Togo, this is a whole nother story. It stars the one and only William Dafoe, the same guy who's been a part of the Spider-Man movies by Sam Raimi, as well as Beyond Two Souls, a video game by Quantic Dream. So, you've got quite a few notable appearances throughout history, but in the case of William Dafoe, this is by far one of the most recent. That is, of course, until I heard of another little video game out there, which is also going to star William Dafoe, plus a few other notable actors out there. But when Togo first came around to mind, I was certainly not expecting to really get much. Well, except for that same old sled dog cliche. But it turns out that when I first watched it, it was a little while before our Disney Plus account would be permanently terminated because of those things that happened. But, well, the big thing is, well, Togo does happen to prove us wrong. The plot centers around a small puppy who continuously tries to get along with the same sled dog group that William Dafoe is organizing for a series of events that centers on dog racing. But for the most part, Togo happened to be rejected for the most part. It took a lot of time and a lot of trial and error to eventually convince William Dafoe to realize that Togo has a gift, unlike many other sled dogs in the world. Togo happens to be a highly skilled leader in so many possible ways. I tell you, there's lots of ways that people will try to make you watch the films out there, but when I saw Togo, I was not really going in expecting very much. That's just kind of what happens most of the time. A lot of us go into certain newer films out there not expecting a lot to happen, but maybe a couple rip-offs, some gags that happen to be copies of, well, others in the past, and some films trying to take on notable sequences that have occurred in more, well, famous adaptations in the past. Togo, however, does a lot of that much differently. And I can tell you for right now, that being a Disney Plus exclusive, it was in fact very hard to get used to knowing that there's going to be tons of other things out there that are going to be exclusive only to Disney Plus. And because of the fact that I no longer have an account with the platform itself, that only makes me wonder, what on earth is also going to come about? Well, the truth is, I suppose, we'll just have to see what happens for sure. We already had news of a Pixar film called Luca, so you never really know. Maybe there could be something different. But again, since I no longer have an account, I'm probably going to be missing out on a lot. But at the time that I did have an account, I was able to watch a lot of movies on Disney Plus and a couple shows, especially ones that I will not be able to see anywhere else. So I feel like that with the time I've had a Disney Plus account, I've had a pretty good run, especially throughout the past, year or so. And now that I see it, there actually are a few other titles that might be noteworthy enough for me to go ahead and talk about here on films I should have talked about years ago. But just for the record, when the time does come, I will get to them. I still do have a lot of others that I will certainly want to continue my talks on, but, well, until any of that happens, I'm more than certain that I'm going to be having lots of other work to do. And if you want to see more go down on my channel, then make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, follow me on social media, and stay on the Hollywood side.